right, man. We had a week off, but we're back now. We're back.
Yeah, somebody broke their laptop by throwing it on the floor. A little bit of anger issues.
I did break my laptop, my work computer, and then I was on the road all last week, so wasn't able to get a day where we could record it. And then, honestly, next week I'm in Canada, so it might be a little tricky to record next week as well.
I think they have internet in Canada by now.
Right. But, I mean, as you can see, we don't miss anything. We always find time to do it. This week we're doing a recap of week 3 and week 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so first up, I just want to give ourselves props here. You and I are both 7 and 5 at guessing the outcomes of games.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, going off batting average, that's fantastic, .583. So, the people want to know, how do we do it? Numbers, guts, is there something more? What's your strategy?
I mean, it's pure instinct, really. I mean, I just know who's going to win. I will say, I kind of make a mistake. I can't bet against myself, but it is also my strategy to lose these early weeks. So that's really killing me. Because I want to lose, but I also can't bet against myself.
Yeah, I mean, I have the opposite problem. I can't seem to ever bet on myself. Every single week, I look at the matchup, and I truly think that I'm going to lose. And that may not be any different this week. We'll see. But, all right, let's jump into the recaps here. I mean, the first thing you have to look at week 3 is Chris and I completely dominating, having huge games.
What a week. Yeah.
I highlighted a few of the matchups that I just want to look at briefly, and as I already said, to me, this was the big thing that happened. Me destroying Jason, Chris destroying Aaron, 9-1 for him, 10-0 for me. I mean, Chris doesn't really buy into saves all that much, so that was the difference there. But yeah, I told you, man, I don't respect the vets. I crushed Cole. That's what happened. So,
yeah, you wrecked them hard. I can't remember if we had a 10-0 last year, but I mean, seeing it's always good.
I tried to look it up, and I could not find a way to look at the history. If we did have a 10-0 game, I know it could not have happened more than once. So, yeah, I mean, Chris and I were tied for first, and both of us to come out and have huge games like this. I mean, there's really not much to say. We dominated across all the categories. There's not much to break down here. It's just impressive that the two teams tied for first both had such dominant performances. Really pushes us up in the rankings, and obviously for the two teams that lost, devastating early loss. That's got to suck to look at your record after that.
I mean, I gotta point out Joshua just putting Lucas down in the ground, bearing him 6 feet under.
Oh yeah, well we'll definitely get to that matchup. That's one of the ones highlighted here. But before we get to that, I want to save that. We have to look at father versus son. The brisket curse starts cooking. Art comes out ahead.
Art just bitch slapped Vince right in the face and showed him who daddy was.
Yeah, I mean, for me breaking this down just quickly here, looking at this matchup, it was fun to watch. I think the curse is to blame for Vince's loss primarily, but I will say ERA and WHIP he lost, which is interesting because Vince is doing this thing where he has a very low innings pitched, and I'm assuming that is to just have quality starts where he can dominate ERA and WHIP, and that did not work. He had 5.53 ERA, which is awful. One of the worst of the weeks, and the low inning pitched, which pretty much guarantees he's going to lose strikeouts and wins as well. So his pitching strategy here totally backfired. Just interesting to see.
Do have a question, and this is just a general fantasy question, and I should probably know this. It's our second year, but I see you have to get 20 innings pitched minimum. What happens if you don't?
So if you don't get 20 innings pitched, it zeroes out everything except for ERA and WHIP. Obviously, it just makes that NA non-applicable for you. So you would just lose all 5 categories by default. The idea is that you couldn't start all relief pitchers. However, 20 is such a low number, you might even be able to do it with all relief pitchers. Although it would be risky. So yeah, the idea is forcing you to start some starting pitchers. You can't game the system by only having one pitcher start who does well and then starting no one the rest of the week to just guarantee you're winning those 2 categories. So that's why there's a minimum innings pitched every week. But yeah, we've never had anyone get to 20, although Vince has been hovering around 30 to 40 on a lot of weeks here. All right, so the big matchup here, Josh versus Lucas. No friendship between them here. Josh has historically dominated Lucas in fantasy football. This was Lucas's chance for revenge here, and Josh came in, got the win. He's gotten his innings pitched up to 63, which isn't anywhere near as much as Lucas's 84, but you can see Josh is starting to kind of understand the game a little bit more, start streaming. I thought this was a huge win for Josh, really putting him on the board and really setting Lucas back. I mean, he's got to be getting a little nervous now with all these losses he's taking early on.
I really think Josh is, gaining his stride. I did have a conversation with him, and he said the biggest thing he learned was those green check marks next to people's names mean they're gonna play. And he thought pitchers pitched every single day,
right?
And he learned, and now we see the results. I was told to pass this message along that Lucas, Josh just wanted to tell you that he doesn't respect you in any fantasy sports. No matter the sport, he'll beat you.
And that's partially my fault. I've talked Lucas up a lot to Josh. That was part of my sell. Is, man, you got to face Lucas. He is a master of this fantasy sport. He is so good. You got to come in here and face him. You'll see how big of a genius he is. And then, I can't take anything away from Josh here. He came in and he got the big win. He was winning by more. Lucas came back to make it 2-7, but very close on a lot of these categories. It was a closer matchup than it looks, and I think this is definitely the first really big win for Josh, and devastating loss for Lucas.
I don't know if you noticed it, but interesting little stat. They have the exact same number of hits and at-bats.
Yep.
Which, that's pretty special.
Both of them at 55 hits with 225 at-bats. So OBP still different, which was a change we made this year. It's not just average anymore. So, yeah, that's a big matchup. I watched that one a lot throughout the week, kept my eye on it. But, yeah, those are the ones I wanted to highlight. So now we can jump over to Week 4 and do a little recap there. So Week 4, Chris and I both pull out 7 wins, so we're feeling real good up here at first and second. I'm just barely ahead of them. Some of the matches I wanted to highlight, the first one from this one was Cole versus Scott. Cole got beat, but he did pull it to 4-6. So, Cole's not pulled out a lot of W's yet, but I think he's still doing okay. I think this showed Scott is still dangerous. The pitching does look real for him. Cole has very low innings pitched, so he only had 48. I think if he upped that, he could have maybe competed in strikeouts at least, going 5-5. He lost ERA and WHIP anyway, so you might as well. Full stream ahead. And then Scott doesn't believe in saves, so 1 save was enough for Cole. I could tell you 6-4 sounds a lot better than 7-3 if you're on the losing end of that. So, hey, 1 save goes a long way sometimes. Overall, I thought it was a good and close matchup. I do think the better team ended up winning here, but it was pretty close. It was exciting to watch. And I don't want to highlight Josh too much, but the next matchup, Aaron versus Josh, that one was pretty excited. It's nice to see Josh finding a stride, 54 innings pitched. Chat GPT, I guess, doesn't believe in the whole pitcher stream, 33.2.
I'd really like to see the info that Aaron's putting in every day, because maybe the computer's failing hard, but I'm putting it on Aaron.
Yeah, I've actually talked. He's going to start streaming more and asking ChatGPT about who to stream.
I see.
Specifically now, so that he can get more subs in. I don't have a lot of critiques on Aaron's team. I mean, his innings pitched is just low. This was almost a blowout. I think at one point Josh was winning this 10-0. So, to pull it back to 4-5, not bad. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a season-saving loss here to pull it to 4-5, but he was already in 12th. So like, had he gone 10-0, it would have been pretty demoralizing.
Mm.
4 wins doesn't sound like a lot. That's almost half of his total wins on the year. He
Yeah.
has 9 wins on the year. So pull it back to 4-5, kind of stay in it. He's not too far back. So yeah, that was a good highlight.
Here's the crazy thing. I think Aaron's record right now is better than your record was last year at the same time.
Oh yeah, my team was terrible. I think we were talking. Will Andrew even make it to 10 wins after week 5?
Mm-hmm.
So we're on week 5 right now. I think Aaron will definitely get 1 win. So yeah, I think his team's not worse than mine started last year. That's for sure.
All right.
And then the brisket curse continues. Vince was
another big game.
Vince started off number 1 week 1. I don't know if you remember. Long ago. He's dropped down to 6 now. That brisket curse is cooking. It's in full swing now. And
Frank the Tank, told him it had to happen. He even put Frank as his profile picture to taunt him. And now, that curse is coming around.
He wasn't scared of the curse, and as a Cubs fan, I think that's kind of crazy. Not to be scared of it. I dominated him in saves. He had 0. I had 6. Just a classic beating, and I think I credit this to the brisket curse. I actually would have picked myself to win this matchup solely based on the brisket curse, and we actually have a special clip for Vince about the brisket curse, which I'll play now.
Vince, what's up, Vince? How you doing, dude? Gary Holt here from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and I'm here on behalf of Andrew Skalicki. He said, Vince, you canceled the brisket party. Not cool, dude. Now you will have a brisket curse. Nothing rocks less than the brisket curse. Vince, you better go see a witch doctor about that shit, or go see your butcher. All the best. Later.
All right, so I hope you listen to Gary Holt, Vince.
Yeah.
You're not going to listen to us.
I don't know even who that is, but apparently it's Vince's hero, so he has some pretty shit heroes.
So now I wanted to do a new segment, a brand new one that I've created. It's called What's the Deal with Him? And that can just be us talking about a team negatively or positively. We're just trying to figure out what's going on with them. So this week's What's the Deal with Him is Lucas. 11th place. Not looking great. It's bad so far, right? Like, there's 2 things here that both Lucas. The first one is what actually happened. So obviously, green's a win, yellow's a draw, red's a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one is just him versus the league average of that week.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at just averages, he's actually 19 and 21, which isn't as bad as you'd maybe think it would be.
No, it's close to 50-50.
Yeah. The ones that are hurting him, he's 0-4 in home runs so far, and 0-4 in OBP. So just getting crushed on batting. Not counting stolen bases, he's 2-14 out of the other 4 categories in batting.
Hey Lucas, if you're listening to this, maybe you need some polar bear power. Send me something good.
He does need some help, so I wanted to place the blame on his star batters, which he has 4 of them, and I think only Mike Trout showed up so far. The rest of them, pretty disappointing. He got Eloy Jimenez, who he bought cheap, and I think that is a great ad for him. That was a top 5 round outfielder. He started bad, but if he turns it around, that could give him some of the help he needs at batting. But I think that's the story of his team in a nutshell: is terrible OBP, terrible home run. Normally, you don't have both of those. So the fact that he's managed to have both, not great.
Yeah. And then, we always just got to bring it up, but saves, he's 1 saves 2 weeks, tied at 1 week, but he's still below the average 3 out of 4. And I think that may be us.
Oh yeah, you and I bring up the average quite a bit. As much as he was talking about he doesn't need saves, he changed his tune after week 1, and that's actually his second best category out of all the categories is saves. His record in it, he's 2-1-1, and then in stolen bases, 2 wins, 2 draws. So those are his 2 best categories. Everything else, not great. He's only won it once or less. So as much as he talked crap about saves, that's his best category. Yeah, that's the deal with him. I think he needs some of his backups to show up, or he needs to make a trade.
I'm just starting to think he's a little bit of a masochist. Maybe he's getting off on these losses.
He wants the comeback story. So
yeah.
I'm just saying that Liam Hendriks could really lock up that save category for him. It's up to him.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember the trade. I tried to trade for Salvador Perez, who I would still take. I really like Perez. But he didn't. He was not having it. So, yeah, we'll see. That's the deal with Lucas, though.
Yeah, but I mean, we go and look at his moves, and he's tied for most moves. Yes. They're just not working for him.
Ooh, sorry. One more thing on Lucas. I forgot to say. I do think he can turn it around because here's his upcoming schedule. Vince, who's brisket cursed, 6th place overall.
Mm-hmm.
That's who he has week 5. Week 6, Aaron, 12th place. You would think that if he could beat anyone, right? Week 7, Caleb hasn't had a strong start. Doesn't start a lot of innings pitched. I think he can manage his way through that. Week 8, Ethan. That's his hardest matchup in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, but I need to lose to him. So.
And then week 9, Cole, 10th place right now. So like, he has by far the easiest next 5. So, but yeah, he'll be week 9. Like his first 4 were pretty hard. His next 5, very easy schedule. I do expect him to rise. I'm just going to make a bold prediction now. Hot take. I think he will be top 7 by the end of week 9. So going into week 10. And that's a long way to climb up because if we look at the standings here, he's 10 and 26. Wait, yeah. So I think he will be.
And what's 7, 16?
Yep.
I think it's possible.
He's 6 wins back, and he's got the easiest schedule over the next 5. So
yeah,
I really think he's gonna rise up the ranking still. If Eloy starts to get a little hotter, I really think that's a great trade. So
it's crazy. He could just pull out 10 wins against Aaron, and then he's right back to like 5th place or 6th place.
The reverse is true, though.
Yeah. So, if Aaron pulls out 10 wins against Lucas, I don't know what we'll do. We'll do something crazy.
Probably a whole episode just on that.
Yeah.
Breaking it down.
I think
I would record it like the History Channel, like tell the story of that week as things are happening.
I think make it kind of like a true crime documentary.
Ooh, yeah, I do like that. So here are the standings after week 4. Chris and I still up at the top. Then the next tier I would say would be like Art, Scott, and Nick. We're all over 20, top 5 teams right now. And after that, I think everything's pretty close until you get to those bottom 3 teams. Well, that's only 5 back, 10th place to 6th. That's not far back. And we already know Vince has the brisket curse, so he's probably dropping. Those are all still very close, but yeah, we have 5 teams that are kind of pushing away from everyone else. We're in the 20s here.
Just reiterate for us, Andrew, because I don't know how many people remember this, but how many weeks do we have in the year?
21 regular season weeks.
Yeah, so we're not even close to the end.
No, we're 4 weeks down. So we've got a long journey
ahead. I always forget how long baseball is. It's forever.
21 weeks till the playoffs start, right?
Uh-huh.
Very long way to go. It's not a big deal even if you were in 12th right now. In fact, that's where I was this time last year. So, all right. So that wraps it up for this episode, and we're gonna do the week 5 preview in the next episode.
Oh, should we explain our new podcast schedule to the listeners?
Yeah. So we're going to record 2 of them, so they're a little shorter. So we're not rushed through them, so you don't have to listen to it all at once and then try to go find where you were. So we'll do the preview in one episode. We'll do the recap in one episode. And then if we're doing team breakdowns, like a deeper dive on teams, that I do every 5 to 6 weeks, then we'll do that as a separate episode as well. Try to keep the videos a little shorter for people. So you get multiple videos each week is the good news.
More content. Everybody loves more content.
People need content.